got a dog on a chair. What a slappy butt. Oh, what a slappy butt. Hey, everybody. It's after dark, man. It's late. Here we are, after darkening it up on a Friday. Or for some of you, it is like early in the morning. Others, it's 1:30 in the morning. The East Coasters. Sorry, I just got home a little bit ago. But we're doing a late night one, and you're going to love it. Want to know why? Because you're going to get one of these. Hey! And it's off. I turned it off. Ha! It's a whole week. I did it again. Back on track, baby. Back on track. Back on crack. Okay. So, things have happened this week. We had our dead cat bounce on Wednesday. We talked about that and how everything's going to go again, and then it went again. Why is my microphone so high? What is up with you, man? Just get right, stay there. So everything went super red again. Fed raised interest rates 0.5 point, which means I have a feeling that we're going to be looking at close to 6% mortgage rates for buying homes, which means the mortgage market housing market is going to slow way down. Evergrande managed to kick the can for one of their subsidiaries that owes like $1 billion in bonds for another 6 months. So I think what they're doing with these Chinese bonds is they're just granting like forbearances and stuff to let it go, and pretending like someday they're going to pay them off when we all know that's not going to happen. It was the worst year for bonds since like 1893 or something so far. The bond market for commercial bonds is way down. Although Biden announced that for the first time since the Clinton administration, we're going to be paying off debt. Not much, like $23 billion of federal debt, but we're paying off debt, paying off principal. What? So the debt won't be growing for the first time since 2000? That's crazy. First time in 22 years. And I had something else I was going to throw in there. Oh yeah, BBIG is doing their TYDE spinoff. So the date of record is going to be May 18th, and I think they're hoping to get the spinoff done on the 27th of May. So the price action on BBIG is going through the roof. I believe it's 1 TYDE share for every 10 BBIG shares you own. So I may have to go out there and buy 5 more because I own like 155, so I should be able to get 1 more and then round up and get another TYDE share. What else? What else we got going on, Monkey? Is that all I got? Might as well go to the chit chats. See what everyone's chit chatting about in the chit chats. Okay, so PW Brand is angry that I'm doing a late show, but you know what? What else are you gonna do at 1:30 on a Friday? Nothing. Okay. Chris always trying to kill East Coast watchers. I want you guys bleary-eyed. Just sleep in tomorrow. What else you got to do? And then people in Hawaii are okay because it's 7 o'clock. Michael K. Houston, do you think the GME stock divvy is going to be plain GME shares or NFT shares in the new spinoff company, GME Entertainment? How would a broker such as Vanguard credit you with NFT shares? I don't think this round is going to be NFT shares. It's just going to be regular shares. That's why they're asking us to expand the authorized shares from 300 million to 1 billion. I think at a later date, there's a possibility that they would do a spinoff of GME Entertainment or G-America, whatever they want to call it, that is handling the NFT zone, where it'd be a wholly owned subsidiary with us as limited shareholders. But these are things like they can do each quarter. They can do a different one and just completely keep screwing these shorts over as long as they want. So, yeah. And if this doesn't work out, if this is a complete crap show and the brokers and hedge funds and the SEC and the DTCC and all of them just fail miserably at issuing shares during this whole thing, then this gives GME that right to go, DTCC, you have 90 days to give us our shares back, and we're going to move over to a lit exchange that we created, and we're going to blockchain all of our shares. And I think that is, that's the future. If they can prove they can do it, they can suck all of that business out of the markets. We also, the other thing in the news, Goldman Sachs basically said that the feds, the DOJ, is investigating their dark pools. They got fined $2.9 billion, which is actually a substantial fine for once, for nefarious actions that were happening. And it sounds like the dark pools may go away. We may force things through lit exchanges. And this is partly because, one, it's the right thing to do, and two, the actual lit exchanges, the New York Stock Exchange, and other lit exchanges, they're pissed. And they're sick of these, dark pool, back alley, black market sales of stock that don't get reported, messing everything up. This is their business, is to flow this stuff through here. So if you're making, fake markets, then you are hurting their bottom line. So I bet they're doing heavy lobbying to get rid of this stuff. Okay. William Morgan going to bed, leaving Houston in charge. Thank you, William. Okay. BTW brand brokers have said I can't read. BTW brand brokers have said already they do not have the systems to distribute token dividends and want nothing to do with it. Yep. And this is going to be their downfall. They're going to have to get used to it. That's the future, man. G Front YYC. Hey, my wife keeps pressuring me to sell my shares and buy a home right now. Can you share why right now isn't a good time? It is a terrible time to buy a home, especially in Canada. Next fall or next winter is going to be a way better time to buy a home. The market is going to collapse. The housing market is going to absolutely collapse. And it's going to collapse about the time our shares are worth a fortune. So it's going to, you're going to be leaving a ton of money on the table. My friend Tom was an early employee at Apple, boatloads of stock back in the 80s. And his wife pressured him to do what he calls the $55 million basement remodel, where she made him sell off stock and remodel the basement. And that stock, this is a few years ago, the stock's probably worth $1 billion now, but it was essentially $55 million in today's prices, probably $100 million today's prices worth of stock to remodel their basement. So, sometimes you may not want to quite do it that way. You can take out a loan against your holdings to buy a home. That way you avoid a mortgage. But interest rates are going way up. My plan is to sell my shares when the time is right and then go to an auction and buy a house that way for cheap. I'm not paying retail for anything ever again. Yeah. Okay. Don't put your hand on the keyboard. All right. Oh, Joe Bob. Shimmy, shimmy, ya, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yay. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Off on a natural charge. Bon voyage. Yeah, from home with the Dodgers Brooklyn squad. Wu-Tang Killer Bees on a swarm. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Joe Bob. Wise words indeed. I think we can all Wu-Tang. Right? Yes. I do think that somewhere the Pleaser Dow or whoever those guys are that have the Wu-Tang album, something must be coming of that. It's been almost a year of Wu-Tang rumors and GME and Ryan Cohen and all sorts of stuff, and we have not heard a peep in months about the Wu-Tang album. Right, Monkey? What are you doing down there? Shouldn't you be up here? Shouldn't you be up here? No? You won't be over there? Just stare at me weirdly because this dog is sitting in my lap? Is that what? All right. She's just boring a hole in the side of my head right now because the big sad dog had to be in its kennel for hours, and now he just won't leave me alone. Joe Bob with wise words. Okay. Great, Peterson. Have you seen the episode where Mr. D plays the stock market? If you guys don't know Mr. D, it's a Canadian goofy sitcom. I met that dude at Banff in 2015, and he stars in a TV show. I don't know if it's still going. It's called like The Murphys. Had Dennis Leary, and my sister's roommate plays that guy's fiance in the TV show. Is it The Murphys? What was that called? But anyway, my sister's incredibly talented, beautiful roommate Olka plays that guy's fiance in the TV show. But anyway, Mr. D is like a gym teacher. Is that right? He was a gym teacher who's like stuck teaching other classes in this Canadian elementary school, and he plays the stock market, and he's trying to like short things, and so he buys stock, and the stock price goes down. He like gets super excited about it because he doesn't actually know what shorting is. So he's just losing tons of money. So it's a good one. Mr. D's pretty funny. Okay. Chris R. Houston, what is your opinion on AMC board asking about pay raises on the proxy? Well, I'm conflicted. Because what's happening now is that they aren't getting paid, and they are saying, oh, I don't get paid, so I got to sell these 31 million shares, these $900 million in shares, because I didn't get paid. And now they're asking us for money. So if we pay them a salary and they still sell off shares, can we hunt them down with torches and pickaxes, pitchforks? Because then we know it's full of crap. That's the... And like, if you're going to be on the board of this company and you're getting $10 million in stock options a year, your salary should be $100,000, $200,000 at the most, right? Because you are getting a fortune in stock options on top of whatever nominal salary you have. You don't need big paydays. And to say like, oh, I'm destitute, I have to sell $20 million in stock or else I can't pay rent. Those kind of machinations just don't vibe well with retail investors who own your company, who all of them, probably average $50,000 a year in earnings. And here you are complaining like, I didn't get my $20 million. I'm going to have to like sell the family car or something. That crap, that's bullshit. So, yeah. I also voted no on every board member. So, no. BW Brand, I'm the same age as Houston, but get senior discounts when I eat out. But he's never had that happen. No, I still get carded when I go into bars. I mean, I'm in my 40s, and I'm still going through first puberty. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this big old zit on my face. It doesn't end. I still feel like hair is popping up in places it should have popped up 25 years ago. I live in constant fear that there's going to be another growth spurt someday. Like, I can't become a silver fox until I finish first puberty. I just don't think that's fair. So, like, body, finish what you're doing first, and then you can start aging me wretchedly and quickly. All right, Michael K. One more question, Houston. Can you please walk through the timeline of stock divi? There's no way the data record could be before the shareholder vote. Can we keep buying until June 2nd? That's my plan. They may have set a retroactive date. Those things have happened before. But I think if we want really good price action, they're going to set a date of record after the June 2nd vote. So I plan on trying to pick up as many shares as I can in the meantime before then. And I'm gonna ride some options on the way up to that dividend date of record. I don't know if I'll exercise. I'm gonna have cash to exercise, but I might hopefully make a fortune in cash off of that. I bet it's going to spike crazy, reset, and spike crazy again when we get close to the issuance date. And then months after that, when there's FTDs up the wazoo, we'll spike again. So it might be three spikes in there. Meow Meow's up late. When Lisa Kudrow turns 60 next year, does that make her a gilf? Lisa Kudrow is 60? Dang, she was like the old one of everybody on that show, wasn't she? She's pretty brilliant in Space Force. We still don't know what she did to end up in prison, and that's just eating away at me. But they did a good job, didn't they, Big Dog? Like making sure we don't quite know. Yep. And the head's back in the lap. There you go, buddy. I'll just keep patting you in the dome. Yeah, makes her a gilf. Total gilf, right? Legacy and Productions, can you do a refresher for the new apes on where they get the money to pay for all attendees during MOAS with huge market cap? Will government start printing? Trying to explain this to a neighbor. Yes. So the money's going to come from several sources. Might as well let's get to, let's see here. I got to go there. I got to open this. Open that. We'll try some visuals. Why not? Okay. Scene. We're going to go to paint. Okay. So, oh, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Ah, you didn't reset. Go there. Okay. So, what's up? Why is my mouse not working? Oh, there you go. Okay. Brush size large so you guys can see what's going on. Okay, so we have a few sources. Source number one is assets. So this is short hedge fund. Money right there. And this is like 1/30th of what they're going to owe us now. And then we have insurance. These is actual policies that institutions and things will take out on positions they have. So this is insurance, like actual policies. Then we have the quote insurance, which is the membership of the DTCC, which is supposedly like trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. So this is insurance of the DTCC and all their members and subsidiaries. This is essentially what the assets that all the membership has. And they've changed some of the liability rules because everyone saw what a disaster the MOAS was going to be. And so certain groups like JP Morgan are like, peace, I'm out. We're forming our own clearing company. Fidelity already has their own clearing company and whatnot. But a lot of these short hedge funds are members of this DTCC sort of collateral system that they have. The next big thing is going to be the U.S. government and Fed. This is the big one. So, I forgot to put in here banks. So I should put banks in there, banks as well, because when short hedge funds run out of money, insurance policies kick in. When insurance policies run out of money, the DTCC and the banks, who are the prime brokers and major lenders to these groups, those assets fall into them now. Those liabilities fall into them. So this is bank. And then when the banks fail, USA has to foot the bill. Because the U.S. government cannot let banks fail. Maybe like one or two of them fail, but they can't let the whole system go down because credit is what keeps the world going round. You guys can't even see half the screen. So let's see. How do I... You guys can't see. Oh, there we go. Just realized you guys can't see that. So we got the USA taking up the bulk of this. And this is where, we have cash and reserves via these reverse repos. We have Federal Reserve bank notes, and we got the Treasury that can just print cash. This will result in further inflation to a point, but the economy is going to fail so miserably that people won't be able to buy anything, so then the price will come back down again. And that's just the weirdness of it. But yeah, we can't let banks fail because we need banks for car loans. We need banks for home loans. We need banks for credit cards. We need banks for payroll loans. We need banks for, short-term loans for gap loans. We need, like the federal government. If you were a contractor of the federal government, you win a contract to sell, I don't know, propane tanks to the Army or whatever it might be, right? You have to pay out of pocket for those propane tanks. And then you deliver them, and then 30 days later, the government pays you. There's a whole system of short-term loans that 100,000 federal contractors rely upon. Bank has to front them the money, and then the bank, and then bank is paid back 30 days later when they get their check from the government. There's a lot of systems like that. There's a lot of weird escrow accounts for import-export people. They all need these banks to survive to be able to use these lines of credit. And if we don't allow them to, we let them all fail, then the entire economy blinks out of existence and we are in Mad Max land. So the U.S. government, good old USA, is going to have to pay. Oh, I think I know how to fix this. I think the problem is that I made this too big. It's got to fit inside. See? This is where... there we go. Okay. Now you guys can sort of see all of it. All right. Fixed-ish. And that's the basis of it. That's where the money's going to come from. Big Houston. No second intro. I win. Okay, where was that? It was Legacy 10. Rusty Nail. Houston, can you define what is a woman? I'm asking. You are trying to be pedantic and a bigot, and I don't like it. You're trying to equate sex with gender, and that's just not how it works. Why? Because there are women who you've fallen in love with, women who you've made out with, women who you've pined after that turned out to have XY chromosomes like a man. There's women with XXX chromosomes. There's men with XX chromosomes that were born. There are all sorts of things that you want to try to put people into this corner when trans people have existed forever. You go to any native culture around the world. You have twin spirits in North American natives. You have Fa'afafini in Samoa. You have Mahus in Hawaii. There's a picture I saw the other day of a non-binary wedding in Austro-Hungarian Bucharest. Like two probably biologically female women who didn't identify with either gender, who married each other. That was 1920. So we've got thousands of years of this stuff. Even the Talmud, several thousand-year-old document dating back to 600 BC talks about trans people. So just cool your jets, you bigot. You don't need to bullshit. How does it affect you? It doesn't. It doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form. What I think it is that when you were a little kid, you really, 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 really wish you were born a girl. And now that you are a bitter old man, you want to make sure no one else can have what you didn't get to have. And I think that is the basis of your entire bigotry right there. So chill out. Don't be a bigot. Be better than that. Love your neighbors. Okay. Meow meow. My last girlfriend was transgendered. Guys asked me what it was like to be with one. I say, have you ever been with a woman before? It's like that. That's as good answer as you can get. Whatever floats your boat, man. Some people are into all sorts of things. They more power to them as long as everyone's an adult and it's all consensual. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. Pat Smith, any more news on MMTLP dividend? Nope, nothing yet. There was an update to was it a 10K that they did about oil lands in Texas that were owned that showed that the land was profitable at $50-something a barrel, and now if they pump, it just makes a fortune for them. Hi, did you get a treat? You did get a treat. You're licking your lips, little buddy. Yep. Hey, Houston, what's the difference between GME and GS2C? Will it squeeze parallelly as a Europore? What should I buy? Cheers from Hungary. GS2C. That might be a European code for GME, maybe. Oops, wrong one. That one. GS2C. Oh yeah, it's European GameStop. Okay, same thing. It's just the European traded share for GameStop. So that's yeah. They'll both squeeze. You'll be fine. Yeah, it's just the one that trades on the European markets. The Oat Milk Man. Why is Indiana referred to as the Crossroads of America, not the Armpit of America? Because it sounds nicer. I know one person who moved to Indiana, and dozens who are referred to as refugees from Indiana who have left Indiana. And the one person who moved to Indiana, it's because she and her husband bought a castle for like $40,000. It's just giant, looks like a friggin' castle, probably 5 years ago. And they were able to sell their home for enough money in the Seattle area for like probably a couple million. And they bought this castle and they're like, you know what? We could spend half of our fortune made off our other house and we'd still have enough money to live off of in Indiana. So they live in a castle now that they've been remodeling for the past couple of years. Because there's a reason why a house was available for $40,000 in Indiana. Because what else are you going to do? Leave? Yeah. If anyone from Indiana, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But yes, refugees. Darren Haya, Houston, how low do you think GME will drop before it rebounds? We might be seeing, close to it. We are how many days away? We're 4 weeks away from. So the second is there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're less than 4 weeks away to the meeting, which is on Thursday, June 2nd, when that announcement will be made. I bet the day of the shareholders meeting, we will see short hedge funds try to short the crap out of the stock and drop it lower. But after that, FOMO will start kicking in. FOMO and recalls from banks will start kicking in, and that's when we should start seeing bigger price actions. But I don't see them having enough gas in the tank to drop this thing below $100 at the moment, because they're so busy trying to find liquidity wherever they can that it's really hard to pay attention to all these other plays that they're making if their assets under management are just collapsing like crazy. Like, there's so many fires that they put out right now. They're dumping their crypto assets. I mean, crypto is just dropping off a cliff. How much lower did we go today? When I last checked, we're at 30. We're below 36,000 for Bitcoin still, kind of evened out. We'll probably get another drop Sunday night on crypto, so it might pump through tomorrow and then dump again Sunday night before Monday so they can meet liquidity requirements. But like Monero is like the only one that was green on the day, because that is XMR. That's the one that's like specifically for drug dealers and Russian gangsters to move their money around without anyone knowing. And yeah. Yum Yum, are you privy to secret MMET info that we are not? Have you met George? Is it your highest fundamental stock outside of a squeeze? No, I'm not privy to any secret information. I have not met George. And is it your highest fundamental stock outside of a squeeze? I mean, my three like bets on the future stocks: Metamaterial, GMF, Graphene Manufacturing Group, and No Labs. Those are my three. Like, I own these, and 10 years from now, they'll all be worth a fortune. Because they're all playing in tech that is like absolutely fundamental and new, right? You big dummy. Yes, and those are my plays. And this, you just want to stare at me. You just want to stare at me all night long, because that's all you ever want to do. That's your entire life. It's just staring away. What else are you gonna do? You can't read. You can't write. You can't sing songs. You try. You just take massive giant turds in the yard and you stare at me. Yeah, that's what we do. Yes. Okay, that's GTCC, Crossroads, Armpit of America, Oat Milk Man. That's how low it can go question. Okay, so Pat Smith, flash crash happening anytime in the near future. Boss Blunt's live stream says there's a real possibility there could be. Oh yeah, when you get big drops like this, there's definitely all sorts of squirrely AI that can go bonkers. We saw a flash crash in Europe just the other day. It hit the Scandinavian markets especially hard. But we are in the midst of an economic collapse, and it's not just a correction. Like, it's a full-on. We're going into a recession. Last quarter was negative growth. This quarter will be negative growth. And it's not just a localized recession. This is going to be a global recession. This is the correction that is the result of us saving the economy 2 years ago. This is us having to like pay the piper now that we kept the economic depression from happening, that we are now going to have a long, deep-seated recession. And the failure of our supply on demand system that we had set up prior to COVID is rearing its ugly head. And a lot of nations wish they had not offshored their tooling and manufacturing for a lot of things. And now we are going to have to in-house a lot of those systems just on national security levels all over the world. We are not going to be able to rely on the constant flow of supply chain coming out of China. It's just, that's in the past. So things are going to get a little more expensive. They're going to be harder to build, but it will take less people to do it. You know, a Foxconn phone factory in China that employs 600,000 people, you could probably do the same with 50,000 people here in the U.S. because it'd be a lot more automated. And because the labor is so cheap in China, why spend $1 million on a machine when you can spend $1 a day on some poor Chinese lady from a rural town to work to death in your factory? You're going to pay that $1 a day. You can get 1 million of her friends and still save money on those machines. So, yeah, we're due. It's gonna get squirrely here over the next few months. Oh, and of course the chat just reset. Oh, I missed the chat. I'm sorry, Bithead. Goodness gracious, how'd that skip by me? Hey Houston, late afternoon here in Sydney. Best wishes and thanks for the learning and entertainment, mate. My pleasure. Where in Sydney are you? My little sister was living in Bondi, and my other little sister before that was living in Cronulla, and both of them are back in the U.S. now. And I was supposed to go do a grad degree just outside of Brisbane at South Queensland University, and then COVID hit, and I didn't ever go to do that. So I signed up for classes through Harvard instead. Andrew Stewart, Rick Vaughn, best pitcher ever. I mean, he threw 101 miles an hour. There you go. I mean, who else can throw 101 miles an hour? Best fictional pitcher? Yes. Why? Because he was a veg head. And he pitched for the California Penal League, right? That's right. That's right. There was supposed to be another Major League movie, and apparently Charlie Sheen was like getting back in shape for it before he had his AIDS or HIV diagnosis. So I don't know. Did it ever come out? Maybe it's straight to video. I don't know. I know it's Major League 1 and Major League 2. Is there any other Major Leagues that came out? And Wesley Snipes wasn't in Major League 2, which was a real bummer because he was fantastic in the first one. But, oh well. All those guys are like 70 years old now anyway. Okay. Where were we? Because the chat reset on me. And... okay, there we go. Okay, there's Oat Milk Man. Get down here. Flash crash question. Only real nerds spend their Friday nights staying up to watch Houston, says Casey Chapman. Casey Chapman is 100% right. You guys, all 278 of you, at whatever weird times it happens to be, wherever you're. Only people who should be here are the Hawaiians and people in Sydney. Everyone else, you have no business being online right now. In a few minutes, some Euros will start waking up. Well, someone from Hungary, early morning person, spending the early Saturday morning with us here. But yeah, the rest of you, what are you doing here? Brandon T. Houston, is it possible that GME gets approval to increase to $1 billion, but purposely decides not to bring the float to $1 billion when they do a dividend split? If so, why would they do that? They won't. They will still keep hundreds of millions of shares in the company, so that if in the future they got to sell shares to raise money or whatever, that pool is available to them. That's why I think everyone's saying 7 for 1 might be on the nose. That would increase the float to about 500 million and change, which is where AMC is right now, which I'm okay with. I mean, they do 3 times the sales of AMC. They actually have cash on hand, so that works for me. And when they see price action, because they know that people will buy it, like a 500 million share float gobble up is easy peasy, so they can get as much price action on that as possible, and the price could stay really high for a long time, even post squeeze as a result. So yeah, they won't give us the full $1 billion. Okay. Monkey, so you can't breathe bone chunks, man. Quit herking and jerking down there. Graham Monroe Lutters. Oh, dog, your hair is in my mouth again. Seriously, all the time. At all times. It just floats through the air. Gets into my lungs. I'm going to have mesothelioma of dog hair. Where was it? Graham Monroe Letters, how do you feel about public banking? And also, what do you think about modern monetary theory? Public banking, like government-owned banks? I'm for it. I think state banks should be a thing. South Dakota has an amazing state bank. Washington State a couple years ago was trying to get a state bank because our state banks with Bank of America. And Bank of America charges the Washington State taxpayers $900 million a year in fees. We put $50 billion through their banks, and they charge us almost $1 billion in fees. That's not how banks are supposed to work. Banks are supposed to give you interest on your money, not charge you to keep it there. Why? Because they're earning off your money in the first place. They give out loans and do stock plays, lots of crap. So there was a push to try and create a state bank of Washington and just have the government have its own bank and save $1 billion a year. But the banking lobby crushed that, sadly. But yeah, look into South Dakota's bank. South Dakota State Bank is amazing. I think North Dakota may have one too. But yeah, I'm all for that. I'm all for the post office getting some responsibility as a bank, allowing people to use the post office for multiple things. Heck, post office can be used all sorts of stuff. In Switzerland, the post office runs all the buses because the buses go from town to town, so you may as well put the mail in the bus and have them drop off the mail for each town. It's a pretty brilliant system. Le Poste. Oh, and modern monetary theory. Modern monetary theory is, it's all make-believe. I mean, everything we're doing here, it's all make-believe. The Constitution, make-believe. People's authority over us, make-believe. The laws that we decide on, make-believe. Everything's just, it's all just a common hallucination that we all just agree upon. So money is nothing more than a communal hallucination. So as long as you understand monetary policy that way, then there you go. Ryan Drake, I'm a smooth brain and confused. Is GME no longer negative beta? If not, how will a crash lead to short hedge fund covering? In my head, low cost equals easier to cover. Yeah, low cost is easier to cover, but the minute you start covering, you increase demand, which pushes the price up. So unless you're in the first few, you're screwed. But even now, like if you have short positions from 2 years ago, you are going to be paying 25 times your investment on closing. So you need to have 25 times the amount of money that you made from shorting it 2 years ago in order to close today. Some folks may have been able to play options or short when the price is at 350 and stuff like that to even some of that out. But I think the fact that we are still sitting at 100% utilization, the cost to borrow is insane. You know, they've DRS'd a boatload of shares that these guys will never close until they're forced to. They will pretend like they don't have to close. They'll do that for decades if they have to, or if they can. It's when they're forced to and they go, oh, fine, I'll close. But even then, it's probably because someone else is making them do it or liquidating them or whatever. Yeah. So even if the price gets to $50, that's still 12 times more than they paid for it. So this is bad investing. Don sees your shed. I lost a lot of money on Cinco de Mayo. Red Thursday. Okay. Not my name. Also from Twit message. Where does it become illegal for dyeing companies to use juicers to get the last values of the company? Like companies are outdone, can't adapt, or someone does it first. Are you talking about like when those leverage buyout vulture capital guys come in and just wring out the last bit? I mean that's what you do is you go in and you auction off the restaurant when it goes out of business, try to get as much as you can out of it, but that's that. Yeah, I mean that happens. The problem is when those companies are hungry for more to liquidate and they find companies that are healthy and then destroy them. And that puts people out of business and reduces competition and all sorts of stuff. That's when there's lots of problems. Legacy 10 Productions, any thoughts or interest in doing an interview or team up with some metamaterial people like Bird Lady, Roller Pigeon, or Uncle Smokey for a show? Sure, why not? I'm game. Come on down. Hang out. Okay. Jonathan Houston, every day we get closer and closer to Mosh, probably 60 days. Did you get your letter to AMC board? I voted no for everything. We can get you on the board, Fishware's mattress. I'll take it. Just put any of us on the board. I don't care. The letter, tomorrow is the date. You can start sending them out. So that's when I plan on sending. I said, yeah, you can nominate me, letter. Everyone who's on here, send one in. Let's nominate everybody. Let's make just a fat list of retails, and let's storm the board. Seriously, I can't. Hair, get off my tongue, dude. How do you lose so much hair? I don't get it. Don't you want to keep it? Okay. Robert Hurt. Scientists are expecting another Carrington event between 24-26. How can we protect ourselves? Carrington event? Oh, you can't predict genetic storms. Or not genetic, geomagnetic storms. You can't. You just can't. So, anyone saying, oh, we're going to have another huge geomagnetic storm between 2024 and 2026, they don't know what they're talking about. We haven't had one, a true one, since 1859. And we have solar observing satellites that can tell us if one's coming. So we get warnings of a day or two. But if a big one's coming, you just turn off all your electric devices, unplug everything, shut the power off in your house, take the batteries out of your watches and cell phones, and let it hit, and then you just plug everything back in again. If anything isn't inside of a Faraday cage, it's going to get hit hard by a geomagnetic storm like that. I keep wanting to say genetic, and that's not right at all. Geomagnetic storm. Geogenetic storm. So, yeah, we just happens to be that's going to be the solar maximum is going to be in that range, because we go in 11-year cycles for sunspots, and sunspots are north and south poles that appear on the sun because the atmosphere twists itself up because it's not a solid body. You got a tiny little core rotating inside, and you have this gaseous blob rotating after it, and so it splits up into all these bands of rotation, different rotational velocities, just like you see on Jupiter, just like you see on Saturn, which is also a big giant ball of liquid. And because the sun is plasma, lots of these north and south poles will appear, and you'll get a north and south pole that appear, and when they get close to each other, they start sharing transfer materials between their two magnetic poles, and then when they combine, because opposites attract, when they combine, it cuts off the flow of that material. That material ejects into space, and that is your geomagnetic storm. And so if it points at the Earth when it ejects, that's when we're screwed. But most of the time it points away from us because we're just a tiny little ball in the vastness of space. Ryan Drake, thanks for answering. From what I gather, it seems like the community is rooting, for lack of a better word, for a crash. How will that benefit apes? Yeah, kinda. It sucks to say, but the economy taking a giant shit is what liquidates hedge funds, because their assets under management aren't worth anything anymore, and they no longer meet margin requirements. And if there's a credit crunch, they can't get the liquidity they need, especially if crypto is plummeting, and they won't be able to sell it for anything that's worthwhile. And then the brokers have to liquidate them and then close their positions. So liquidate all their good assets, spend that money closing their positions, their short plays, and then they're done. And then those short plays move on to the layers of responsibility from prime brokers and insurance and the U.S. government and so on. So we kind of need a crash to make this happen, because assets under management have to be small. Billy Illy. New Interest sounds a lot like a fast version of Careless Whisper by George Michael. I think that's exactly what he did. You gotta mix it up a little bit, so that they can't dock me for copyright infringement. Throw a little thunder in there and a fart, and it's a new song. Keith Bromden, did you coordinate with trade sloshing? Is Jamie in here getting absolutely smashed at some early hour out there in Scotland? Sometimes when I do these late night shows, he drunkenly shows up in the chat, and we have a great time of him pontificating. It's fun. VW brand, honestly, today has had the least number of videos and live shows from YouTubers for AMC and GME I've seen since I started watching them. Weird. Maybe all things to do today. I don't know. What is it about May 6th? May 6th is it's the birthday of my girlfriend from 3rd grade. Happy birthday, Claire. That was her birthday. It was an older woman. Okay. Daddy Duke, hi Wade. Do you think it's too late to reverse global warming? Sorry for the off-topic question. Not give me all of the off-topic questions you want. I crave them. I must consume them. We're getting there. If we were willing to spend $1 trillion globally, we could actually do something about global warming. But no one's willing to do it. And because everyone who has that kind of money isn't going to be alive to deal with the problems that the rest of us are going to face, and so they just don't care. They're like, I'm living the good life now. To the rest of you, I don't care about my grandkids. I don't care about my children. I don't care about orangutans. Screw them all, because I got myself a yacht and some bimbos, and that's how they're rolling. Hamfingers in the UK. Is there any way hedge funds can survive the GME dividend? I watched a clip about Girk saying how they could do it, and this is assuming that MOAS doesn't trigger, but essentially, if they still have some control over how their assets are used and their margin, and make a margin play, they can short leading up to a like naked short, just sell naked, up to where the large firms are doing recalls of shares. So we see a price action happen then. And then post date of record, the price might fall off, and they can buy back until it starts to climb again from FTDs and the shares being offered. And that spikes again, and then they short it and bring it back down. This is assuming that they have some control over their assets. But if the price goes too high, the price gets above a few $100 a share, I think they get blinked out of existence. They lose control of their assets at that point, and the brokers now have to just close positions. So it's a dangerous game to play. I think it can be done if the price doesn't go too high, but if we break that 350 barrier, I think that's where the hedge funds are pretty much doomed from that point forward. Mike Lang, Adam Aaron makes $9.6 million a year in salary. That's a lot of salary. That's is that salary or is that his stock options that he got? Anyway, you should be able to live off of $10 million a year and not be like, oh, sorry guys, I had to buy a new Vail home because my old Vail home was too small. BB Brand, no wonder he can't wear pants at home. One pair of pants is $10 million. I didn't have enough. Okay. Bubu, is this Houston the city or Whitney Houston? This is Houston the Wade. I can sing like Whitney, but only when I'm alone and in secret. And I can eat fatty food like the city of Houston at all times. Kumquat smoothie. How can I make melted butter that doesn't make the popcorn shrivel up? Popcorn shrivels up when you put melted butter on it? I don't think I ever paid attention. I mean, when I was a kid, we got like a popcorn popping machine. So you just pour the kernels in and you throw some butter in there and then brrr, it fires out into a bowl. And then they started inventing like the microwavable popcorn. It came in bags and we never used that machine ever again. It used to also have like the aluminum pan that you would put on the stove and it'd pop and then like the paper on top would inflate. Those were always fun also. But I don't know if I ever dealt with that. I'm not a big popcorn eater. I realize that, like, I've had roommates my entire life who it seems like weeks at a time, their only meal they have is a bag of microwave popcorn, and that's all they eat. And I can't remember the last time I actually ate popcorn. What do you think that was? I don't know if I've willingly ate popcorn since you've existed. So it must have been at least 6-7 years since the last time I had popcorn. I just don't, like, I don't know. I can have popcorn or I can eat a chocolate bar. I'm going to eat the chocolate bar. Or have a donut. Or eat a piece of cake. I just don't eat popcorn very much. I remember I had like a wicked brutal toothache. It's probably like 10 years ago. And I was like, oh man, what the hell? Oh, my tooth hurts. This sucks. And then a few weeks later, I worked this thing out and it was like the shell to a popcorn kernel. And I was like, I don't think I've had a piece of popcorn in like a year. This thing's been jammed in my tooth, like in the gums, in the root of the tooth for that long, if not longer. And I just really haven't eaten popcorn since. Because I don't want to experience that ever again. I like my teeth. I have no cavities. I like to keep it that way. I don't want them to rot on my head because I ate a piece of popcorn and the shell got stuck in my gums and then carved out my molar or something. Oh yeah, and there's BW Brand talking about the piece that works its way into your gum line and ruins me for a week. That's exactly what I'm talking about, man. Like I think roast beef is delicious. I think roast beef sandwiches are the most awful thing to happen to the spaces between your teeth. Absolute heinous thing to like have to eat at lunch. Like, oh, my roast beef sandwich. And they have to spend like the rest of the day just trying to work out some stringy piece of fat from that thing that's stuck in your teeth. Absolute worst. I will forego like an au jus dip roast beef sandwich at lunchtime. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put myself through that for like the rest of a work day. I will have stuff that does not leave giant strings in my teeth. Woo! Hi, dog. Hello, buddy. Yeah, little nose. Little nose just stick up there. Little. Okay. Rusty Nail, I can assure you I've never made out with a man. I can assure you that no man on earth has ever been attracted to you. Okay. G-Front YYC, have you ever seen the Aztec tomb that looks like a spaceship? No. I'm gonna look that up. Aztec tomb spaceship. Images? Let's see what we got here. Come on, Chrome. Okay, so we got tomb. We got a dude. This dude. He's hanging out. It looks like he's living the good life in here. There he is. Is this what we're looking for? It's inside sarcophagus of Pakal. Some sort of... Is this a stone carving? Is it... He's snorting on something. Link to alien contact. Here it is in color. It's like some sort of a tapestry. What is this thing? I mean, you do have all sorts of doodads going on here. Doodads galore. But, I don't know. Does it look like a spaceship? Does it look like he's just in some sort of elaborate sex machine? Okay, so you got some sort of like chair ottoman thing. Could be like a tub. I don't know. I'm not sure what we got going on here. We got some apparatus up here And is it the back? It looks like he's on a throne, but he's sitting sideways on it. Like these are armrests, and this is the back to the throne. He's just kind of sitting sideways on the throne because, you know, he can do what he wants. He's a pack-all, right? Palanque astronaut, actually depicting Mayan world tree with pack-all offered in sacrifice, hands tied. His hands are tied? Oh. All right. No, that's all news to me. Scott Lumley. Happy birthday, Houston. In regards to roast beef sandwiches, have you heard about toothpicks? Also, what hedgy trickery can we expect coming up? Yes, I've heard of toothpicks. And B, they're never around when I need them. And hedgy trickery can we expect coming up? Well, before we go on to that, I got to talk about toothpicks. So, I was in Norway with my friend Jesse, and we went to Norwegian pizza is kind of weird. So we went to a pizza restaurant, Norwegian pizza. They like put like ground beef and corn on their pizza, whatever. We were eating some Norwegian pizza. Any Norwegian people here in the chat can probably tell you Norwegian pizza is a bit different than everyone else's pizza. And Jessie, you know, got someone stuck in her teeth. She took the toothpick from the table, went to get it out, and the toothpick broke and stuck the piece of toothpick in her gums, and she couldn't get it out. It was stuck, and she was just in excruciating pain. And I had to run around the city of Bergen and find dental floss, and it was like insanely expensive. It was like $10 US for a roll of dental floss, so that she could like finally get that piece of toothpick out of her mouth. So yeah, sometimes toothpicks can fail you miserably. But anyway, also, what hedgy trickery can we expect coming along? I mean, they have one trick, and that's shorting. That's all they do. They short, and that's how they operate. So I expect shorting. Shorting and swaps. Hopefully they lose dark pools sometime soon. But that's all they do. They just short it, and they hope later someone doesn't notice. And that's their entire business mode of operandi. Casey Chapman, I plan on going back to school post-MOAS, biomed engineering at the moment. I want to focus on clean energy. I was thinking of studying nuclear energy, but concerned it's not a long-term solution. Thoughts? No, study nuclear engineering. Because remember, in 15 years or so, we're going to be bringing helium-3 back from the moon. And that is nuclear energy. We're going to be doing fusion physics. So if you want to go into that, by all means, go into that. Learn to collide helium atoms together and get them to fuse, and you'll be the stud of the universe. Jim, evening Houston. Any thoughts on the cause of recent Mars quakes in early April? Mars quakes? What? You guys find all this news and I don't hear about it. Mars quakes. 3 big Mars quakes on September 21. 2 Mars quakes rock the far side of Mars. Largest Mars quakes to ever be recorded. Really? So this is the giant Super Grand Canyon. It's about the size of the United States. NASA's Mars quake hunting lander has detected 2 largest seismic events to date, and on the far side of the planet, no less. InSight launcher touchdown on Mars, November 2018, carrying the most sensitive seismometer. Oh, you guys can't see where I am because I'm doing that thing again, where I forget to make it so you can see what I'm doing. All right. So we got 4.2 earthquake in August. September, another 4.1. And that's just reported in April, but these are published from that. So 4 point somethings. I mean, stuff happens. There's the planet is still settling. The core is still shrinking because it's still cooling off. It's solidified, but still cooling off. So you're gonna get escarpments and all sorts of crazy stuff still. So yeah, but I don't think you'll get giant earthquakes because you don't have actual plates on Mars like you do on the Earth. So interesting. Okay. Aztec spaceship. In cases, New Jersey is the armpit of America. Parts of New Jersey are. Where my mom's from in New Jersey is like the garden part of the Garden State. Along the Delaware River, it's lovely. Like tiny little colonial farmhouses and, you know, between a BASF paint factory and a nuclear power plant. But beyond that, it was gorgeous and green and, you know, kids playing soccer and sucking gnats through their eyeballs when they would run around. Chris Alves, the EU markets allow synthetics. Could all the European shares be real ones? Naked shorting is not allowed in, I think, anywhere except the United States. So my guess is that if you have a share that's trading on the European market, you probably have the real deal. So how many shares, what's the volume on the European markets for those? GS2C, what kind of volume do they do? They don't show volume here. European, previous close, market cap. Show me the volume. Revenue, diluted, operating income, cash. I can't see. If you look at the GS2C and you are European, will it show you how much volume gets traded? I'd be curious because I can't see it on my side. Ron Johnson. If a perfect time machine were invented and we traveled to the time of the Romans or similar time frame, will we get sick and die or will we be okay? That depends. If it's a virus, probably okay. Because a lot of those viruses are basically ingrained in our DNA now. Bacteria, on the other hand, that's going to be different. So like bubonic plague, you don't have any immunity to bubonic plague. You're going to get your ass kicked by it. And it's going to be gruesome and awful. But what we do have is we know that we have to wash our hands. So that's something. And to bathe regularly, that's another thing. So we could bring with us some modern convenience and sanitation that otherwise folks wouldn't have. Being the inventor of the U-bend on a toilet would make you the most famous person in the entire world, and you can do that 2,000 years ahead of everybody. So that's something to think about. Jalen Austin, is there really a Russian warship near Hawaii? Probably, out in international waters. But the Russian Navy sucks. They are absolutely terrible. A Russian ship near Hawaii's waters grabs attention. It's from 4 days ago in Newsweek. The Russian ship had cut military attention to continue to monitor the war, no doubt. So calm. Russia sending ships to near Hawaii is not a new maneuver. They've been doing it all the time. So, I mean, Russian submarines, those might be something, but their only aircraft carrier burned to the ground a couple of years ago. So, they don't have the ability to launch jets around the world. Their Black Sea flagship sank. Their second in command ship possibly sank today. So I'm not too worried about Russian Navy. They are just rusty buckets. So, you know, I wouldn't worry. The Pacific Fleet's in Hawaii, and that is just a gigantic. I mean, let's just look at, like, let's go Google Earth. Come on, Google Earth. Open, friend. Turn you on. Turn you off. Turn you off also. Come here. Come here, Earth. Okay. Let's just look at what the what the U.S. Pacific Fleet has. First, we have San Diego. Right? So we got San Diego, we got Point Loma, Coronado, we got all sorts of ships. Where's the Embarcadero? Okay, here we go. Got 2 aircraft carriers right there. Bing, a couple of destroyers and the aircraft carrier. No, 3 aircraft carriers. We got 3 aircraft carriers in San Diego alone. There's a couple submarines, all sorts of stuff. All right, so that's San Diego. We can go up to Seattle. Yeah, and in Everett, up here, we have usually there's an aircraft carrier or 2 in Everett. This is the Everett Naval Base. Do we have any aircraft carriers? Got a couple of destroyers. Probably because the aircraft carriers are at sea at the time. And we go across the water. We go to Bangor. And here we have the largest collection of nuclear warheads in the entire world. This is the Trident submarine base. These are all nuclear warheads. Every single one of these is a bunker housing about 1,400 cruise missile warheads. And this is where the submarines are, our Trident submarines, which oftentimes get blurred out so that you can't see details on them. The government forces them to do it. So we got a couple submarines in here. Cool. Then we go to the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, which is down here in Bremerton. And the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, we've got 1, 2 aircraft carriers in port, a couple of battleships, USS Constellation, USS Ranger, Triton submarine, USS Long Beach gets docked there. What else we got in here? These are the dry docks, I think. There's a couple of ships in there. Then we go out to Hawaii. Here, and we go to Pearl Harbor on Oahu. Let's get ourselves facing north. And we go into Pearl Harbor and Pacific Fleet in here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, at least 9, 10. Got a whole bunch of ships docked in here. Remember, like maybe a quarter of the fleet is in at all times. The rest of it is floating around the Pacific somewhere, doing things. So you got the Pacific Fleet here. If we go to Russian docks, we got 3 big ones. You got Murmansk, Vladivostok, and Sebastopol. So Vladivostok is up here. Is Vladivostok in here? Vladivostok. No. Where are you, Vladivostok? Duh. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I was way too far north. So we got Vladivostok, and what do they got here? They've got, you can see the rust from space. Rusty bucket, 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 rusty. It's like they painted their boats rust colored because they're just rusty buckets. They don't have enough money to do anything about it. So there's the rusty buckets in Vladivostok. We can go to Murmansk, which is where they have a large chunk of their subfleet, which can only, their ships can only leave part of the year. The submarines can go into the ice. And Murmansk is... crap. Where are you, Murmansk? Murmansk. There we go. So Murmansk up here, which U.S. submarines have actually made it up this harbor before without being detected, which... yeah. Silent runnings, baby. So, here we go. Murmansk. We've got rusty buckets. That one might not be rusty. That one looks like it's actually painted red. But most of these ships are probably fairly inoperable. The Moscow, the ship that got sunk a couple weeks ago by the Ukrainians, a report got leaked today showing that none of the missiles even worked on that ship, so they had no ability to shoot down any aircraft that were coming near them. And so that's why they got wiped out. Basically, they're like, we can't send the ship out because it's not working. And Putin was like, send it out anyway. Send a strong message. And they sent it out, and then it got wiped out. So then we got Sebastopol, which is their 3rd ship base down in the Black Sea on Crimea. And Here, they don't have any ships in at the moment, so I don't know how updated this is. But they were told to take all their ships out because they're worried that there's going to be a strike inside the harbor here. But, you know, rusty buckets. Every single ship here is just rust. Red, 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 red. Here's a couple Navy ships. Here we go. So here's a couple of cruisers, I believe. These don't actually look painted. These actually look like the best upkept ships so far. And this is the Moskva, which doesn't exist anymore. That ship has been sunk. One of these has been sunk. The Admiral, whatever. So that's gone. So they lost, like, a good chunk of their fleet. These are rusty buckets that don't work anymore. So I wouldn't worry about the Russian Navy. They're all bark, no bite. Okay, now I went on a 10-minute spaz about that. Okay. Okay, that was Russian warship question from Jalen. And of course the chat resets again. Let's go back to, where were we? How am I so far behind? There's 350. It is almost midnight over here and there's 350 of you on right now. You guys are nuts. How are you all still awake? I'm only 46 minutes behind the chat though. That's not too bad for being more than an hour into the show. Normally it's much worse than that. Lost Waves, sup with your boy pal. He's my boy now? I think the Fed will ever lose control of the narrative. It's getting pretty ridiculous. I think the Federal Reserve has backed themselves into a corner where they've got the plunge protection team, the reverse repos, both doing battle against their inflation policies of raising interest rates. Raising interest rates can curb maybe 3% of domestic spending. As when people like throttle it back a little bit. Because most Americans, we spend everything we make. Why? Because we have to. That's how much our rent and food and laundry and everything else is, that we don't actually have much left over at the end of the day. We have like $400 in reserve, and that is for an emergency. And what emergency is going to cost you less than $400? You want your car worked on? It's $1,000 minimum. So, what are you growling down there for? Yeah, what it will do is it may throttle back rich people spending. Rich people may go, oh, well, taking out a loan on this house might not be a good idea because I'm actually spending more money on this house than I can make off the market right now. So they may not pursue buying new homes at the moment. But the rest of us are just kind of screwed, man. we're gonna get eaten alive unless this thing moasses. We're gonna be, you guys will be sitting here with me chatting a year from now going, oh, is this thing gonna moass? I hope not. Hope it happens this summer and we can make our fortunes off of it then. But Bonnie R, Dow will go below 30,000. Yeah, I see the Dow going below 20 when this thing's all said and done. The Clinton administration saw it go from below 5,000 to 15,000, and then pretty much plateaued during the Bush years of 15,000 until the '08 crisis, and then it bottomed out at six something in March 2009, and then climbed back up and got to pretty much where it is today. It's from 2009 on, but everything is overinflated. The value of everything's overinflated because of these corporate stock buybacks, boosting the value of everything. But it's undercutting the true value of the companies because the true value of the companies require reinvestment in capital. So you have to update machinery, models, renovate stores, do R&D, bring out new products, venture. If you aren't spending money doing those things and focusing on stock buybacks, then you are going to lose in the long term. And the stock's going to collapse because your company's not worth anything. That was a great thing that, what was her name? I mentioned her a year ago. If you watch the Dirty Money docu-series on Netflix, the young lady who shorted the pharmaceutical company, that was her entire thing. She was like, look, all these guys do is they do stock buybacks, and they don't invest in R&D, and they buy up generic companies, and they have nothing new to offer, and they're not going to be worth spit. And she was right. They lost like $50 billion in market value, and she made a fortune shorting the hell out of them. So I think everybody's going to be in that boat. If you've got the money to short everything, I think you're going to be doing just fine. Jonathan Destuches? What are your brackets for AMC if it squeezes? Up to which amount are you 99% sure it will reach and 50% sure it will reach, etc.? I think it can reach 4 figures at some point. I think that's entirely possible. Last summer I would have said 5 figures, but that was before I realized just how terrible the board was and how they've thwarted every ability of a squeeze happening as possible. But I still think, yeah, that range. I don't know about percentages. I don't know who's going to be able to sell on those peaks for AMC. But that's why ladder sell. Sell here, sell there, sell here, sell there, and work your way up. And when you think like the price is done, then you dump. And then sell the rest and retire. That should be the goal. But a year ago, I would have thought AMC could do 50,000 a share in a MOAS situation. But now I'm not quite so sure. BW Brand, I will say Powell threw America under the bus to save his job for 6 more years. He should have stood up and told Trump he will not delay Fed action because it will help the stock market. Yeah, that's the kind of thing is that we should have been raising interest rates from probably 2016, 2017 on, but the tax cuts going into 2018 meant we had to keep everything afloat. So you'll notice if we look at the Dow, go here. Oops, wrong button. Go there. We go to Dow Jones Industrial Average. Dow Jones Industrial Average. Okay, so, oops, not you, you. Okay, so we go max. All right, maybe not that much max. I want to go 5 years. There we go. Okay, so rockin' tax cuts, and then pretty darn flat, basically until the start of 2020, and we started to see a little growth, and then COVID hits, boom, and we started climbing back out of it again. But now we're flat. We've been flat essentially since May of last year. We've had a little bit of peaks in there, but we're dropping now. So we've got a ways to go until we hit the low of May 2020. So we got down to 19,000. March 2020. I think we can drop below 20,000 again easily. That's about where Trump came in, not too much lower than 20,000. But this tax break here just for a long time. And if we look at so Clinton years, boom, 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 boom. Bush does tax cuts, and we were flat, until we started to get a pop right before the bubble burst, and then we crashed back down again. So we were down, where was that low? 6,626 in 2009, and then climbed out. So tax cuts never help the market. They don't. We go flat whenever they do a giant tax cut for everybody. Christina Hill, I always learn so much from you. Enjoy hanging out with you. I enjoy hanging out with you guys too. Even on a weird late night after dark special on a Friday when we should all be, I don't know, getting laid or something. I don't know. But here we are. Here, Felix Houston. Hope you're well, buddy. Got some coordinates. Okay, we are in Europe. Where in Europe we're going to be? It looks like UK maybe. Put a little man in the bench shed, have a walk around. Okay. Sounds like a plan. Boink. Boink. Paste it. 50 degrees north, 1 degree west. UK. Put a little man in the bent shed. Have him walk around. So is this the bent shed? Is what we're talking about? This thing? Looks like a gun battery. Oh, well. Oh, look at the little maze. Look at that. There's much only one way you can go on this thing. It's not a tough maze. We got lots of guns here. I'm just in a balloon. How do I get into the shed? Maybe if I exit that street view and I go Fort Nelson, Hampshire. If I want to go in to there. Nope. Oh yeah, here we go. Ah, we got ourselves a gun museum. Look at these things. This is the stuff that Russia's had to put in the back of trucks. Left over from various wars. Got howitzers. We got this Broheim doing a selfie here. What's up, bud? Look at these suckers. Big old tank. As far as we can go there. Can't read any of the artillery in the something. Forgot time? Cool. Click go. Go that way. Whoop. Here we go. Big, bigger, biggest. First World War is expected to be mobile. Fast moving, soon over, and tortuously. Yeah, the biggest guns ever were in World War I. They had cannons that could shoot over 70 miles. I think I talked about this before. They had to watch out for the Coriolis effect because you were shooting from one position and the Earth would literally rotate under the round before it would hit somewhere. So you had to count in the Earth's rotation into your aiming of your shot. Stuff's crazy. 18-inch railway howitzer. It's around. It's like that. Bigger than that. Like that. Holy smokes. Interesting. I think just blow out your eardrums, man. Go that way. Got some more. Look at the size of that thing. 200-ton railway howitzer. Could have aimed side to side or just had to aim down railway. That seems like a disadvantage. Only 12.7 mile range. That's not very much. The 155 millimeter howitzers that we just sent to Ukraine have like a 40 mile range. And some of them. Oh, sorry, 40 kilometer range. Like 28 miles. Oh, that's it. We're at the end. Good spot. That's fun. All right. Cool. Thank you, Felix. Bones, Charlie Sheen is HIV? Yep. Tiger blood, baby. He was doing lots of drugs he shouldn't and banging a lot of chicks he shouldn't. And when he had his mental breakdown, what was that, 10 years ago or so? When he was doing like tiger blood talk, it was revealed that he also had been diagnosed with HIV. Fast like a bear fitness. You guys see Charlie's GME wallet vid. Used it to announce no more shorts covered in February 2021, he says. No, they didn't. We can see in the data that the SEC produced in their report, they didn't come close to closing. And the fact that we've been popping in price every few months shows that they still aren't close to closing. They've gotten better at masking, at covering their positions, but they never closed. Charlie's wrong about that. Chris Detloff to see the new commercials for the new Top Gun movie. Yeah. I'm waiting. I can't. We've got 20 days. New Top Gun. Woohoo! So let's do it. Bones out saying too much. It's 11:07 where I live. You are on the same side of the coast I am. My cock's very thick. Excellent. Thick as a brick, my man. What do you think about Russia threatening to blow up Europe a few days ago? Russia's constantly threatening to blow up Europe. That's their only play at this point. They're so backed into a corner. So what I was talking about 3 months ago, was back in February, that Russia's getting their ass kicked so hard that they're being backed into a corner. And the only reason Putin remains in power is people are scared of him. And if people are no longer scared of him, then he can't hold on to power. And so he has to lash out. He has to use the last resort, which is first strike. Last resort, first strike. And that's just going to either end the world or doom him forever, doom everybody forever. He's that type of dude who is like, if I can't have it, no one can mentality. And I am hoping that when he gives that order, someone along the 9-person chain of command till get to the point where the guy pushes the button is going to go, yeah, I'm not doing that. And if we do get to that point where they push a button, I have hope that Russia has been so god-awful with maintenance because they're so corrupt. And anytime money trickles down to maintain something or rebuild something, the generals take that piece of machinery and sell it, and then they buy themselves mega yachts with that money. That, the O-rings for the fuel lines on these big rockets won't work. That the half-life of the tritium used in the warheads for their fusion bombs, that the half-life is only 12 and a half years. So if they haven't been doing any upkeep, since the wall fell, the Iron Curtain fell in 91, they've gone through, more than 2 half-lives event, almost 3. So there's not enough fissile or fusion material inside of those bombs to work. They might have just a bunch of duds. And, so those are the things I'm hoping for. That's like 75% of me is pretty certain that if Putin were to order that, either the bombs won't work or someone along that chain of command is going to go, no, I'm not doing that. That 25%, that's where everything ends in the world. And as I just pointed out, I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of nuclear first strike locations. So, that'll be it for me. Signing off. Hopefully the monkey butt can survive the apocalypse by eating whatever squirrels are left, but I'm not holding out hope. BW brand, my state credit union charges $12 in fees a year. How can you afford that? Man. Z, Houston, if I told you I have 1,000 GME shares, would say you have more or less? I've got way less than that. You are already in millionaire territory when this thing kicks off. I have much less than that. David Allen Grove, would be interesting to create a YouTube poll to find out how many here are in GME and AMC in both. How can I do that? I can create a poll. Okay. Okay, let's try that. I didn't know I could do this. Okay, so then I just click that. And then a poll goes, I don't see anything. Is it at the bottom? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I put a poll up there. Oh, that's the first time doing one of those. Okay. All right. So you guys click that. And we'll see, of the 345 of you still in here, vote away if you can see that on the chat. I only have 1 vote so far for both. Okay. Oh, here we go. Now votes are coming in. All right. 32 votes, 41 votes. All right, this is cool. I didn't know I could do that. I figured there's a button down there at the bottom that does that. Fantastic. So we're at 48 votes. So there's 300 of you that can still vote for this thing. So I'll leave it up there for a few more minutes, see where it ends up. Ham figures, Houston, you haven't said the word gnarly in this stream yet. Please don't break tradition. Dude, gnarly, brah. The dog farts or burps. I'll say gnarly. Dude, the other day, that was heinous. Absolutely just... Everton, today I received a letter from TD Bank in Vancouver that I must sell my MMTLP in 90 days or they will sell for themselves, as in March, because it became a non-qualified investment. Is this legal? Weird. I don't know how Canada operates, but that shouldn't be right at all because it's supposed to transfer another share. Call someone and complain really loud and say that, no, don't sell my MMTLP, that I want to hold on to them because it's a dividend share. And raise a stink, because that doesn't sound right at all. I don't know what kind of weird Canadian rules are going on for that, but yeah. All right, we're at 68 votes, so still, 200 and change of you could still vote in this thing. Send that poll right along. Bones, 81 likes of your 280 viewers. Does that mean 71% of your viewers hate watching? I know that at least one of my viewers at all times is my stalker, and so I know that at least one I don't like you comes from him every show, because he takes screenshots of me like every show, and I don't know what, he's a weird guy, but he's in love with me, so it's midnight or wherever time is, wherever he is, and he's just jerking it furiously to my image right now, just imagining me just naked and doing things to him, and he's just going to town himself, having a great time. And he takes a screenshot, and then he prints it out, and he sticks it on the ceiling of his van, and he looks up at night and just wishes that he had, this butt chin in his life. That's what it comes down to. I'm not sure about the other 200 of you, if that's also what you're doing, but make a group thing. Doesn't have to be weird. Mars question again. We're scooting right along because some of these are repeat questions here. People arguing about super chats in here. I mean, you don't have to super chat me. I try to get to as many questions as I can. I will answer questions if you super chat, because that's the nicest thing I can do. You just offered to just give me mana from heaven. I would be a dick to ignore you. But I don't beg for it. I don't believe in begging for it. If you want to super chat, I will answer your question for sure. But otherwise, I'm going to try and get through everybody's. I can't always get through everybody's. I have like a vocal limit of about 2 hours, and then my throat is done, and all of a sudden I'm really hungry, and I just can't go much longer than that. So, I might not get to them all. I try to get to them when I can, but yeah. Henk van Hoffen, there was news about investigation of Morgan Stanley on dark pools. What will this do for GME? Will they ban dark pools? There's been a lot of them. Goldman Sachs is being investigated for it. Morgan Stanley got raided in Germany. Most of the shady things that you'll find in the markets are probably happening in London because there's basically no regulation in London. The regulatory bodies are very weak and very undermanned and underfunded. Like, one of the groups that are in charge of doing like market manipulation and fraud and money laundering is actually the Archbishop of Canterbury. And he's been in charge of that since like 1400 AD. So a lot of the squirrely stuff that like American brokerages and banks will do, they will use wholly owned subsidiaries in London to like do the really squirrely stuff. And so like 2008, when the 2008 crash happened, most of the really bad things were U.S. subsidiaries working out of London. We have better regulation here in the U.S. Our regulation sucks in the U.S., but it's better than what is in London. London has no idea what's going on, and it's kind of a system by design because post-Empire, post-World War II, they needed something to draw money into their nation, and basically they became sort of a haven for rich folks around the world to bury their cash and assets. And so I would be looking at what these subsidiaries are doing specifically in London. Like, what's Morgan Stanley doing in London? What's Goldman Sachs doing in London? What weird plays are they doing, and are the dark pools often going on there? I would not doubt. Ryan Drake, my last question. I keep seeing that liquidity is dried up and they're running out of shares to borrow. But isn't creating fake shares one of the things they do best? Won't they sell naked forever? They'll sell naked for as long as they are allowed to. Yes, that's exactly what they do. If they get to a point where the government finally shuts off naked selling, they're screwed. Or if they get blinked out of existence because they no longer meet capital requirements or liquidity requirements, or no longer meet margin and can't cover, then all of a sudden they lose their ability to sell naked. And those are things we're waiting on. Like, when's that going to happen, right? Felix says, I stopped watching people who stream the market now, might pop into Girk now and then. I just pull out the phone, open Trading View app, no MOS yet, put it down, get on with the day. It's kind of where I am. We're just waiting. That's all we can do is sit around and wait. We're just, like, the way I see my live streams is us just kind of killing time. we're just all here, killing time, talking nerd stuff, learning about things. Having a weird conversation with you guys, tipty type, and I just verbal diarrhea all over your faces. And my dog is completely confused as to what my life has become in the last year, where I just spend so much time staring at a wall, talking with a bright light shining on my face. You are beyond confused, aren't you, little buddy? Yes, you are. Yes, you are, you little booger. I don't know if you can see the side eye, but she gave me the side eye. Okay, so we're at 109 votes, 9 minutes in. Should we end the poll? See what the results are for everybody. You ready? And end poll. And where's my results? What? Does it show you guys? Oh, there it goes. Okay. So 56% are both, 38% GME only, only 5% AMC only. There you go. 110 votes. So I got about a third of you to vote in this. So most are both. Only a few are AMC only. Yeah. Okay, people having a conversation about the parents. Talking about the popcorn. Talking about the grandparents. Okay. Oh, Felix got him. Okay. Houston, yesterday, GS2C traded to a 10,433 volume. That's not very big for what's available in Europe. So my guess is you guys may not have naked shares over there. Probably the real deal. Have such a small volume going on. Stephen Latham, there's a reason why Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are still kicking at 90 and 98. They can afford health insurance. That's saying something. Those of you who are like watching in Europe right now, like, health insurance? We just go to the doctor and it's taken care of. Chad Clifford, Houston, when thinking of the GME proxy vote for additional shares, is there any way hedge funds or bad actors could taint the vote, ultimately recording a majority of no votes in respect to the split? Only if they had enough votes. And none of them have reported huge amounts of ownership in shares, right, going long. So unless they have like 500 million long shares, they're not going to be able to vote. So, and even then, if there's something squirrely with the way the vote goes down, that too would give Ryan Cohen ammunition to go, give us our shares. So, yeah. David Z, this man loves Google Earth. I do love Google Earth, man. I love it. I wish it existed when I was a kid. Because I spent so much time just staring at atlases and the almanac anyway, that having an access to Google Earth is just fantastic. I love it. I love looking at maps. Roaring Pickle Hidden Kitty. Options on birds being real. I mean, I eat chicken. I don't know if I've carried them before. I've held a chicken. I don't know. I've killed a chicken, plucked its feathers, and cooked it. So I'm pretty sure these chickens are real. Money Printer Go Brr. Do you like dividend stocks? I'm thinking of living off them after MOS. That's kind of my plan too. Dividend stocks and Vanguard index funds. Just dump it in there, live off of dividends and annuities, and never have to worry about anything ever again. Just let the money manager person do their thing, and Monkey Butt and I can go party in the desert, right? That's what you want. That's what you want. She's like, oh yeah, blanket, the best. Billy Lily, how we awake working nights. There's still 300 of you in here. I got like 10 minutes left before I reach my limit, and then it's bye-bye. But Houston deserves more positivity. Do I? Do I deserve more? Do I deserve it? I have to earn it, I think. David Z. Michael Burry quiet lately. He posted a couple days ago about dead cat bounces, but he always like posts and he deletes everything. So you have to go to the Burry archive to see anything that he says. Jay King, Houston, greetings from New York. I'd like to say I'm always looking forward to your late night 1 a.m. is my prime time, so whatever late night you present, I welcome it. Thanks kindly. Me too. I usually operate pretty well late at night. So, yeah. I'm a night owl. That's the entire reason I got a degree in astronomy is that there were no classes offered before noon. I've tailored my life around basically being able to just be awake when I want to be awake and be asleep when I want to be asleep. And yeah, that means I'm not earning big bucks at jobs that are 9-to-5 jobs that I could be working. But man, look at me. This is the face of somebody who looks a decade younger than all my peers. When I went to my 20th high school reunion, I was like, you all look like shit. Every single one of you are crow's feet and gray hair and got pooches, and all of you look just miserable and old. And I feel pretty good, and I look way younger than all of them. And I think it's because I actually get to sleep in, and they don't get to do that. So, you know, there's something to be said about quality of life over working for the man a whole bunch. I don't know. People talking about crypto mining. Hey, Houston, does the SPY dip below 400 next week? What is the SPY at right now? SPY. Let's talk about SPYs. 411? Very possibly. We are down $40 just in the last month. So we got close. We got to 412 last Friday, and we're at 411 this Friday. I think it's very possible we drop below, the SPY drops below 400 in the next week or so. Because if it's dropping basically $10 a week is basically what it's been doing on average for the last month. Year to date, well, okay, so a recent peak was March 29th at 461. We're at 480 in January. So we're down $70 since January, $50 since end of March. Yeah, it's about, since March, we've been going down about $10 a week on average. So, yeah, so next week, down $10. We are at or right below 400. David C. Holy crap, Houston found a gem. You found the gem? What'd you find? Lay it on me. I want to know. Talking about heat pumping for mine crypto. Almost caught up to the chat here because you guys are having long conversations about things that are doing your thing. Okay. Nil 21981 Houston. Someone said Lockheed Martin got a $60 billion contract for fighter jets for a country they were not at liberty to divulge. Thoughts? $60 billion. That's a lot of fighter jets. I mean, they're not allowed to divulge. That could mean anything. I mean, we're not going to be selling them to Russia, that's for sure. The people who've been buying that many jets have been nations like Saudi Arabia and stuff. But I'm not sure how many more weapons we're going to sell to Saudi Arabia at this point, because they aren't playing ball when it comes to oil production. And yeah, so I don't know if Saudi Arabia's going to get much more out of us if they don't start playing ball. So I don't think it's Saudi Arabia. I wonder who has got $60 billion right now to spend money for fighter jets. It's not China. Who has that kind of money? No one does. I wonder who that would be. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Did you see Ryan Cohen's latest tweet? I saw one of them talking about his wiener. When he talks about his wiener, we usually go green. That seems to be how that works. Twitter. Oops, maybe you go away. Oops, come on. Ryan Cohen. Yeah, he's talking about the wee again. So, oops, not you. Go away. I use Twitter to overcompensate for my small wee. Every time he's talking about his wee, we've gone green. When he starts talking about toilets and poop is when we go red. So I wonder if he knows what type of volumes are going to be happening. I wonder if he can see data we can't see from the inside. And he's just basically saying, hey, it's going to go green here. So we're talking about wee-wees. Talking about wieners. So he talked about wieners right before we had that November pop. He talked about wieners right before we had the pop in April. So, and then he talked about toilets and we went right back down again. I don't know if it's causation, correlation, what, but yeah. We got another person from Hungary here. Got a lot of Hungarians up in here. Dame Horatia, if you had $2,000 to spare, would you buy Metamaterials or GME? Right now, I'd buy GME. Because GME, I think, is going to do a squeeze long before Metamaterials is at this point. So the price on GME right now, I think, is a bargain. And we should see something explode in June, go into July. And that's going to make you more money. No financial advice, not a financial advisor. But if I had $2,000, that's what I'd spend it on. And GME calls. I might next week pick up some calls for either mid-June or mid-July and see where they get me. See how many I can get. That would be nice. And I'll probably just use them for cash so that I can pick up shares when the price dips on it again. Lost Days, Houston, Dylan Francis at the Walmou Theater next weekend in Seattle. You should go. I wonder if I get backstage and they won't even know. I have to wear he's got tattoos, so I have to wear long sleeves. But I bet I can walk in there. We're like the same height. We look exactly the same. He has a widow's peak, and I've got a little more male pattern baldness. I am a couple years older. But I wonder. Just go backstage and be like, what are you doing in my dressing room? And see what happens. Okay. Christopher S. Houston, what are your thoughts on Unusual Whales? Unusual Whales nails it often. I have a feeling it's much more than one person operating Unusual Whales, their website and their ETF trackers and their news and all those things and their Twitter feed. I think it's probably a team of people, but they do a very good job. Yeah. Michael Mystery, what snacks do you miss from Hawaii? Pastrami sandwiches from Monono Mini Mart. Those are the best. They're so good. They're the best Howley food in the West Coast. You can't get a pastrami sandwich better on the West Coast of the United States, or western part of the United States. I miss fresh pineapples from my yard. That was always great. Like pineapple. Malasadas are delicious. One of the things I really like. There used to be a place called Bamboo Garden. Was it Bamboo Garden? No, Bamboo Garden was the bar I wasn't allowed in because I was a white person. Trop Island Garden? Shoot, it was a little Thai place. And they would do this shrimp curry cooked in a hollowed out pineapple that was like, it was so expensive for being in college, but I would like order that and then just would starve myself for the rest of the week because I couldn't afford food. It was so tasty. You cannot get a good hamburger in Hawaii to save your life. All the hamburgers are disgusting. They just cheap, frozen garbage, terrible meat. You can't get a good hamburger. Hilo Bay Cafe is really tasty. And then my friend Dean's place, White Guava, which is opened up this year, is bomb. He's like the only dude I know out there that dry ages steaks so they can just cut them with mine bullets, and they're delicious. Dean's the man. He makes some delicious food. But otherwise, what other things do I snack on there? I'm asking the dog, who was born in Hawaii what she knows, but she's under a blanket. She can't answer me. What do I snack on a lot? Oh, would I get bentos a lot? I would Japanese curry at the noodle places. I love Japanese curry. Sushi at Island Sushi was so cheap. It was like $1.50 for a bunch of rolls. And like, you'd order a fish and they'd be like, "Oh, we're out," and they'd literally just walk across the street to the suisan place and like come back with another fish and just cut that sucker up like fresh off the boat. That was pretty cool. Now I'm hungry again. It's 12:30 at night and I want to go get another meal. All right, 12:30, which means I'm at my wind down time. Okay. Are we there? I think we're there. I need to get food. I've been talking about food too much, and now it's time to go get some. Thank you so much for all 300 of you and change who jumped in here, and we're hanging out. And you early morning Europeans, you Australians who are enjoying your midday, and you night owls here in the United States, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. And here's your present, and I'll see you on Monday, if not for perhaps a Twitch stream. I've been trying to do more Twitch streams, trying to keep up on that. I did quite a few this week. So maybe we'll do one tomorrow? I don't know. Anyway. Oh, bye-bye.